Hello, everybody! For the first time on this channel, you're gonna hear my voice and you're gonna have to put up with my terrible French accent.
On baguette Paris.
So, a bit of a disclaimer before starting my analysis. I'm going to reference Axiom Verge 1 and 2 throughout the whole video, so I highly recommend to play these games before watching the video. First, I may be a bit harsh with the game because of my experience with the Metroidvania genre and the fact that I compare it with its predecessors, so take everything I say with a grain of salt and remember this is purely subjective. Second, I'm not gonna talk about the lore of the game itself because I'm not the best person for that. But know that I read through all the notes present throughout the game for this video, and that I appreciate the philosophical aspect of some of them, like the student note and the plague of thoughts one. And last, the video in the background is a gameplay of the current speedrun world record for Axiom Verge 2 in any percent done by Feathers. I'll put a link to their video in the description below, so go check it out after this one. And with that, let's get started. Axiom Verge 2 is a Metroidvania game released on the 11th of August 2021 on Windows, PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch, and you don't care about that, do you? Okay, so let's start by talking about what I don't like with the game. First of all, the bosses. I don't like the bosses of Axiom Verge 2. Why? Because they're not bosses, they're mini bosses at best. You can just face tank them and still be in good shape after that, or even skip them completely. There's no strategy involved or any placement, they're just big enemies with big health. The only exception being the steam snake in the water area and the final boss. They don't have a theme like in Axiom Verge 1, so even that doesn't make them interesting. Axiom Verge 1 had platforming for its bosses, they had their own themes, and you had to strategize at least a bit to know their weak points. I wouldn't say they are memorable, but at least there was an effort put into them. There's even multiple instances where an entity seems like a boss, but is not, and that was really frustrating. Like, there's a giant fly mouth thing trapped in a giant area in a secret zone, and it moves. So you attack it, but it's not even touchable. Yeah. There's also a yellow worm thing, which wanders exactly like the steam snake, but does nothing other than that. It doesn't attack, and it is touchable but not killable. And I'm not the first person to think that this was a bug. I saw multiple people not understanding what to do with that thing on forums. The final boss is forgettable and does not pose any threat. It just stands there most of the time and fires an easily dodgeable attack every once in a while. The only good thing about it is its theme, which is a remix of Amnesia from Axiom Verge 1 and is currently playing. Also, I know that Axiom Verge 2 is more of an exploration and story game, but come on, The first game had no problem doing exploration, story, and combat all at once. So why not the second? The playstyle. In Axiom Verge 1, you had 21 different weapons for the main character, and with each a different style of playing. In Axiom Verge 2, you have 6. Well, 5 technically, because Tilar, I don't know how to pronounce this thing, is more of an exploring tool than a weapon, but you get the point. So you end up using the same weapons from the beginning to the end. The slow animations. I find the teleportation animation with the sort of tornado and the bridge transition very, very slow. It's pretty, don't get me wrong on that, but god is it slow. I found myself taken out of the game multiple times because of that single thing, and when you have a fast travel system with the game but exploration in which you have to teleport a lot, I find it a bit annoying. Take a game like Xenoblade Chronicles with fast travel and a decent amount of exploration. The animation is quick as to not break the immersion, and I like that. But that whole point is not that big of a deal though. The return of codes in notes. Axiom Verge 1 had a system of codes that you could find in notes dispersed throughout the game. You had to manually enter them through a sort of computer system to activate them and have an effect on the map, or to decipher the language written on certain notes. So it forced you to explore areas that you had already visited before to find secrets, and I would have liked to see another batch of codes and secrets in Eisenberg too. The musics. That one is extremely subjective, so make of it what you will. But I don't find most of the musics interesting. It's not that they don't communicate the atmosphere of the game, because that in itself is done well, but they're just that for me. Axiom Verge 1 had memorable musics like Amnesia, which is currently playing in the back. I still have the chills thinking about the scene tied with it, and I listen to it and the whole OST outside of the game, and I don't for Axiom Verge 2, except for the Drowned OST, which I found mesmerizing. But I come back to that later. Let's jump to what I liked. Lake Maggie. Lake Maggie is the water area of Axiom Verge 2, and as you might have guessed, this is my favorite area in the entire game. I absolutely love the music playing throughout this level, and I can listen to it in repeat for hours. I also love the design of the area with its Atlantis vibes. It reeks of history and You wanna explore all of it because of that. The water compromises your movements at first, but you quickly get power up to get more agile in the area. And after said power up obtained, I had so much fun jumping in the water. As I mentioned before, the steam snake found in Lake Maggie is one of the most, if not the most interesting and well designed boss of the entire game. It is a good introduction boss that manages to pique your interest right at the start of the game. You have to explore the area to get a power up, which leads you into a puzzle that uses said power up to defeat the boss. So you have a boss, a puzzle, and a mechanic all in one. Que demande le peuple? The Tillar talent. Tillar, or the fly cloud as I call it, is supposed to be a weapon you get towards the end of the game, but as I talked about in a previous section, it is more of a tool than a weapon. It basically allows you to fly, making the exploration of the map and the 100% completion that much more fun for me. The first opus had the tendency to put hard to reach areas for no reason and with no tools to really help you. So the 100% were more complicated to get and not much fun. And I think that's a welcome improvement. The fast travel system. Even though some areas lack a fast travel system and the animation for teleporting is slow, I enjoyed it anyways. Of course, we lose a little bit of the exploration side of the game, but I think that's a fair price to pay for not having to travel the entire map on foot or having a corridor area just for traveling like in the first game. The reminders. In Axiom Verge 2, you had the ability to put reminders on the map to specify if you had to return to an area later for an item or a boss, for example. That may be a small detail for others, but I found it really useful, especially when you have an almost 800 tile map. Yes, I counted. I would have liked to have multiple types of reminders, like one for bosses and one for items, but I'm nitpicking at this point. In conclusion, even though I've been kinda hard to the game, I find it enjoyable as it is, and it's a good product in terms of price for time spent. If you're like me and don't have a lot of money to spend on video games, I think that's important. But if I had to recommend a first Metroidvania game, maybe I wouldn't recommend this one. Try Axiom Verge 1, even though I imagine most of you have already played this game if you're watching this video. And then Axiom Verge 2. Or try something like Hollow Knight, which is one of my favorite games ever and has the content of a AAA game for around the same price as Axiom Verge 2. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and